Hey everyone, it's Lauren from the blog pennyforyourdreams.com, and today I wanted to share with you how we planned our family cross-country road trip on a budget. So we recently completed our very first huge family road trip. We traveled from Vancouver, Washington, all the way to Birmingham, Alabama. So we logged over 3,000 miles and we had a blast. We had our 22-month-old son, Jack, with us. And so that was a bit of an adventure all on its own, trying to get a toddler across the country. We really feel like our trip was eye-opening and life-changing in so many ways. We learned a lot through the 10 days we took to travel, and we had a ton of fun. So today I just want to share with you how we made that happen. After totaling everything up after our road trip, we realized we spent about $130 per day. And that was about what we budgeted when we set out. And before I get into the specifics, I just want to say a quick something. You really don't have to spend a lot of money to have great experiences. You can do so many things for free or cheap. You can go to visit so many amazing places. I think we automatically assume that travel is expensive, especially for families, or that it's too complicated when you have kids. And of course, children do complicate travel and they do make it a little bit more expensive. But traveling on a budget with kids is still totally possible. The biggest reason for our road trip was because we were moving. So we're now living in Birmingham, but we've definitely decided that we want to take more road trips in the future and we want to travel more with our son and also future kids that we have. And now we know from experience that this can be a big part of our lives if we want it to be. You really don't have to spend gobs of money. I mean, you can go camping and spend very, very little once you have all your gear. There's just so many ways you can go about traveling. My first tip is planning ahead. I really feel like planning ahead and budgeting ahead of time are two very, very important things. First, I would recommend just going ahead and pricing everything out. Do your research, figure out where you want to go, where you want to stay. Do you want to stay in Airbnbs? Do you want to camp? Do you want to stay in budget hotels? And as you're planning, I also want to recommend a website called roadtrippers.com. It's totally free. I'll link it down below, but we use this a ton and it really is very intuitive. It helps you plan your route. It even calculates your gas cost for you. There's just so many cool things about this app, and there's also a phone app. Definitely check them out. It's really, really helpful for planning a road trip, short or long. There are so many things you can add to your trip along the way, and it makes planning your trip really, really fun. So here's the breakdown of everything we spent on our road trip. We spent $471.42 on lodging, $199.02 on fuel, $71.52 on groceries, $350.43 on dining, $196.74 on extras such as attractions, park fees, souvenirs, etc. And we spent a grand total of $1,289.13. So now let's break it down by category. Lodging is a category where you can save a ton of money depending on where you stay. I think this is one of the biggest ones, honestly. We actually stayed in 8 Airbnbs on our 10-day trip. One of the nights we stayed with Benj's family, and that's actually another great tip. If you are able to stay with family along the way, it's such a fun time to reconnect with someone you might not live close to, and plus it saves you some money. You can of course bless them in some way with a gift as a thank you for your stay, but most of what we did were Airbnbs. This was very much outside our comfort zone going into it. We had never stayed in rooms inside people's homes. We'd only ever stayed in like an entire separate building or an entire house or something that was separate from other people living there. But what we found when we were looking up prices and rates for rooms is that you can get a really, really cheap rate by renting a room in someone else's house. I think a couple of our rooms were even as low as $35 a night. So once we averaged them all together, we ended up spending only, I believe, including all taxes, fees, and everything, only about $58 per night per room. And we stayed in a different Airbnb every single night. So it was quite the experience. Every experience we had was good, positive. We had some interesting little things happen that weren't bad. They were just like, okay, we'll just roll with this now, I guess. Like one night, there was a group of retired people singing folk music in this couple's house. And it just kind of cracked us up because we were not expecting it at all, but that's just something that came with staying with this couple. So you can be prepared for little things that might be kind of interesting experiences along the way. I think it's just comes with the territory. I would highly recommend giving Airbnb a try if you haven't already. I think you get a $55 credit for your first stay if you use our link below, and we get a little credit too. And it's just a great way to try it out because you have very little risk up front. You can sign up now and you have I think a year before your credit will expire. So definitely take advantage of that offer if you want to give Airbnb a try. There are some really cool places to stay. So the second category is fuel. Now we actually let roadtrippers.com figure out this estimate for us. And we, I think, budgeted a little bit high. We ended up spending less than they estimated, which was great because we had a cushion. So definitely not complaining about that. But we tried to fill up as often as we could when we'd find gas for a good price. And we knew we would be driving through a lot of rural stretches. So we tried to make it a point to fill up kind of frequently just to keep our tank at least half full, just in case we got stranded or stuck somewhere. And of course, there are different apps you can use like Gas Buddy to help you find cheap gas wherever you happen to be. So the third category is groceries. Now, of course, you can spend a ton less money by preparing your own food. Even though I know eating out is more fun and easier, I would highly recommend looking for Airbnbs with kitchens or kitchenettes, or even if you're staying in a room of someone's house, a lot of times they'll actually let you use their full kitchen. Just make sure you check to see if you have that option when you're in the booking process. We actually brought our Instant Pot with us and a little box of cooking essentials like tongs and spoons and spatulas, some things just to help with the cooking process. We also had a little box of pantry staples like rice and some curry sauce from Trader Joe's and just some basic things that we knew would help make meal prep super easy. And also before you leave, make sure you stock up on your favorite snacks, and I recommend trying to keep stuff as healthy as possible so that you feel really good throughout the trip. I think it's super easy to eat junk food when you travel and then end up feeling terrible, and you can't enjoy your trip as well as you'd like to just because you're feeling sluggish and kind of gross from eating out too much and eating too much junk food. Some of our favorite snacks to pack were like homemade trail mix, beef jerky, apples. We love Trader Joe's plantain chips, just things like that that are pretty wholesome and not gonna make you feel crummy. So dining was actually a category we ended up spending a fair bit in. I think it only averaged out to like $35 a day, but since we were gone for 10 days, we spent about $350. Now we could have done this cheaper, but we chose not to for convenience sake, and I have some health issues that require me to eat very cleanly, so whenever we would look for restaurants, we would look for like farm-to-table restaurants or search gluten-free things on Yelp, which kind of helps you find better options. I personally can't do much fast food at all, so places like, Wendy's and McDonald's, not happening. My favorite sort of fast food place is Chipotle. We love Chipotle partly because of the price. You get a ton of food if you do a burrito bowl for a very small amount of money. There were times Benj and I could even actually share a single bowl and then just kind of supplement with our own corn chips, and it just kind of stretched the budget a little bit. Another reason why we spent more in dining was because we love finding really, really good coffee shops. My husband is a coffee nerd. He loves roasting his own coffee. He has his own coffee roasting setup. And so we don't really do Starbucks, but we do love to find indie coffee shops that are doing really cool things. And that was a really fun highlight of our trip, actually, was finding these different coffee shops along the way. Now our last category we just dubbed extras. This included park entrance fees and tolls, souvenirs, anything that kind of didn't have its own category. We found plenty of free things to do along the way. I'd say that playgrounds were the anthem of our road trip because my son just had a blast getting some wiggles out. Sometimes we'd eat picnic lunches there. It was just a really perfect place to stop for a bathroom break or just to get some wiggles out. We also visited Arches National Park, Garden of the Gods. We drove through the Rocky Mountains. We visited Rolling Hills Zoo in Kansas. We stopped at the World Center for Birds of Prey in Idaho, and we went to the Oklahoma Aquarium in Tulsa. And all of those were great experiences, but most of them did cost money. So all of those admissions and entrance fees came from our extras category. We're kind of minimalist when it comes to our belongings, so we each picked just one souvenir. I found a really pretty aspen leaf necklace as we were driving out of the Rockies. Benj found a really nice coffee mug, and we found Jack this adorable little plush owl. And so each of us had this one thing from our trip to remember it by, and it was really all we needed. One more thing I want to mention that I did not include in our road trip budget is vehicle maintenance. Now, I feel like if you're taking a road trip longer than a few hours, you probably want to get your car checked out. We ended up needing some repairs done on our car, which we needed to do anyway, which is why I'm not going to include those costs in our budget. We would have gotten them done regardless. But it is definitely something you should think about factoring into your budget as you prepare for a long road trip or a lot of traveling. So I think that's all for today. I hope this has been somewhat helpful for you. There are so many ways to save money when you travel, and I'd love to hear your top suggestions down in the comments below. So definitely connect with me there. I hope that you will stick around and subscribe if you haven't already. Please give this video a thumbs up and ring the notification bell, and I will see you next time. Bye.